Southern Mississippi's Golden Eagles open the year against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. We'll take a look at the Bulldogs and the Golden Eagles' preparation for the season opener. We'll visit with offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey and defensive coordinator David Duggett and get ready for the 2015 season today on Southern Miss Sports Today with Todd Monken.
This edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with Todd Monken is presented by Bancorp South, right where you are, and brought to you in part by the City of Hattiesburg, a proud sponsor of Southern Miss Athletics. UPS, from figuring it out to getting it done, UPS is here to help. The Mississippi Office of Highway Safety, drive sober or get pulled over. We'll be back with This Week in Southern Miss Football right after this.
While you're out partying with your friends this weekend, remember, get a designated driver. Drive sober or get pulled over. A message from the Mississippi Office of Highway Safety.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken, presented by Bancorp South. Well, believe it or not, ready to kick off another football season here at the University of Southern Mississippi. The 2015 season opens up on September 5th against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, a 9 o'clock ball game at the Rock. And Todd, we'll talk about that game, but you get to game week. You got that sort of excitement starts to build up. I'm sure the coaches and the players all tired of banging up against each other. It's time to play a football game.
It really is. And a little different this year in that camp started later because the game is later, so we got into school a little bit sooner, but we're ready to go. We're ready to play somebody else, and we've obviously got a great measuring stick to how far we've come, and we're excited that the Mississippi State's coming here. We've had a great camp, and we're excited to take the field against the Bulldogs.
When you talk about the camp and how successful it's been and how much better it might have been, what are some things that stand out to you about the way the guys have started to prepare for this season that maybe has been a little different?
Well, I think it started all the way back with the change we made with Zach Woodfin in the strength and conditioning area. And then I felt it even in the winter, and then with how we worked and how more efficient we worked. And even through the summer, I thought our guys, we had fewer guys missing things, class, tutoring, being late. I just think that's a sign of maturity. You've got older guys that understand. And so then that just carried over from the summer, then to camp. I think our guys have, our older guys that have been here have a bitter taste in their mouth. I think they really do. I think they want to be a part of something special. I think they've worked awfully hard to get to where they're at now, and it's time to go.
And there's a lot more competition. You've got a lot more depth on this team, a lot more talent, and so now guys are out there at practice knowing that they're fighting for a job, or maybe that wasn't the case a year or so ago.
That's exactly right. You know, you've got to have enough depth to where guys have to keep their razor sharp every day, and it's really, and it allows us to practice longer, not extremely longer, but I mean get more out of our practices. We get to exchange players and have a more efficient practice. So anytime you can build competition, it allows you to practice better, which is going to allow you to play better.
Got an influx, too, of junior college guys and some fifth-year guys who all look like they're going to make a contribution in some way or form for the Golden Eagles.
No doubt. They're either by starting or being key backups. I feel really fortunate that all of the guys that we took, our coaches did a great job, I think are going to play for us. I don't feel there's one guy in there that wasn't what we thought they were, from the graduate transfers to the junior college transfers to Tyler Matthews, who transferred a year ago, that are all going to aid this team in taking another step forward.
What have been some of the surprises for you, maybe offensively or defensively, on this football team?
Surprises, there haven't been many. I would say probably the number one surprise just overall is how the transfers blended in with our team. Whether it was the junior college guys or the four-year guys, I thought they've done a great job and really fit in well. Offensively, probably surprise has been Oliver Bates. Really come on, really been physical, was dinged up in in the spring, but really he's had a great camp. We anticipate he'll start at left guard. And then defensively, probably the improvement of Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson has really come on, had a nice year last year, but really leads our defense and has had a great two-a-days.
Guys like Oliver Bates, there's a lot of young guys on this team, or they're not young anymore. They've been around a few years, but really kind of forced into action probably a year or so before they needed to be. And that now starts to pay some dividends because they've kind of had some on-the-job training the last couple of years.
Sure it does. We have a lot of guys with game experience, and then we added in some older guys. I mean, we have, I'll bet senior-wise, we have about 20 scholarship seniors. We have about 25 scholarship juniors, about 20 scholarship sophomores. So you're talking about the excuse of you're young doesn't fit anymore. I mean, we have probably 65 of our 85 scholarships are in the top 3 classes. So that bodes well to experience, talent, and it's made for a more competitive camp, going to make for a more competitive team.
You and I have traveled a lot around. We've been at some events, some Southern Miss events around the state of Mississippi, and a lot of excitement out there about this Golden Eagle football team.
Sure, every year when the fall comes, it's a new year. It's as I've said many times, it's not Brett Favre's team, it's not Ray Guy's, it's not 2011, it's not 2014. This is the 2015 team. We'll decide what standard we set for ourselves and what kind of year we have.
Well, it's going to be Southern Miss and Mississippi State on Saturday, September 5th, just a couple of days away. The Golden Eagles open up the 2015 football season. More to go on the show today. We'll talk to offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey, defensive coordinator Dave Duggan, and talk about the first opponent, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. More to come today on Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken.
People ship all kinds of things.
But what if that thing is a few 100,000 doses of flu vaccine
That need to be kept at 41 degrees.
while being shipped to a country where it's 90 degrees? In the shade.
Sound hard? Yeah.
Does that mean people in Laos shouldn't get their vaccine?
We didn't think so.
From figuring it out to getting it done.
We're here to help.
Welcome back, everybody, to Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken, presented by Bank Corp South. We're going to turn our attention now to the offensive side of the football and visit with the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach for the Golden Eagles, Chip Lindsey. And Chip, I guess first of all, just talk about the fall camp, how that's gone for the Golden Eagles, and maybe what some of your goals were, some of the things you're going to try to accomplish during the fall camp.
Well, we've had a great fall camp. You know, the guys have really worked hard. The energy's been great. I think we've improved, you know, and really reached some of the goals we're trying to get to from a standpoint of just our philosophy and what we want to do on offense. We want to play with a hard edge and be physical and make sure that our guys are physical at every position. And I think they've really bought into that, still trying to play fast a lot and do some things to stretch the defense vertically and horizontally. But for the most part, you know, we really tried to identify the guys that are our playmakers and the guys that we think we got to get the ball to in certain spots to help us score more points.
Well, let's talk first about the offensive line. That's a position last year where injuries really depleted what depth you had there. You really kind of moved guys around last year in that offensive line, but you've recruited to that position. You've got some good guys coming back. Talk about the offensive line.
Well, you know, we did. We addressed some needs in recruiting for sure, and but to put with the good nucleus that I think we have coming back, you know, starting, you know, at center is so important. Cameron Tom, and at tackle you got Shad Hill and Big Norman Price, and then inside we've got some guys that have played some, you know, with Devin Ferrier and Brandon Farmer, and then sprinkling a couple new guys. You know, you got guys that some guys that have played a lot of games here, and then you got some guys that we're sprinkling in. I think it's a really good mix.
Well, quarterback, that's there's been a lot of talk all year long about the quarterback position. Nick Mullins has been a 2-year starter. Tyler Matthews, a young man who began his career at TCU, who sat out last year after transferring. Talk about those two guys, plus you've got Parker Adamson, who's been around a couple of years, and brand new one, the freshman left-hander, Gabe Green.
Well, starting out with Gabe, Gabe's here as a freshman and learning the ropes as a freshman, as they all have to do, and he's done a really nice job. He's an intelligent kid. And then the other three guys have been, two of them have been here for a while, and Tyler's been here a year, so there's some familiarity, and it feels good to have three guys you feel like can go in and run the offense and give us a chance to win. Parker and Nick and Tyler can all three do that. Nick and Tyler have kind of, separated themselves a little bit and competed and are still doing that all the way up probably till the first game, and just feel good about that group. They're great kids and fun to be around.
Talk about the two guys really kind of fighting for that starting spot, Nick Mullins and Tyler Matthews. How are they alike? How are they a little bit different?
Well, I think they're alike, and both of them are intelligent guys. They're smart guys. They understand. They're students of the game. They study, and they try to, do a really nice job of getting in the playbook. I think that's how they're very similar, and they're very similar in styles too. They're both kind of pocket guys, athletic enough to make a play when they need to. They're both very coachable. I think that's important at that position, and really just it's exciting to watch this battle every day.
Running backs, again, you've got some guys who saw some playing time last year, a couple of young guys in Tez Parks and Ito Smith, the old veteran now in Jalen Richard, who's been around, I guess, his fourth year now with Golden Eagle. He's been battling some injuries throughout his career. Talk about that position, and again, that's one of those spots where can't have too many running backs.
No doubt. Last year the ideal thing would have been to redshirt Tez and Ito in the perfect world. We weren't in that position. Both of them had to play, and both of them did well. And then Jalen, we kind of challenged him in the spring and the summer to really take leadership in that room and become what he's capable of doing. Coach Monken does a great job motivating our players, and that was one of the things that we've seen out of Jalen in fall camp, is that he's taken that to heart and really kind of done a really nice job separating himself.
All right, wide receiver, we haven't talked about them yet. Obviously, you got to have some guys out there catching the football. You got Mike Thomas is back from a year ago. Casey Martin's back from a year ago. You got Marquise Ricard, who has played a lot of football for the Golden Eagles. But you're mixing again at that position a lot of new guys who are really going to see action really for the first time.
Well, we are, and it feels great. Mike is maybe, in my opinion, from last year, this year, one of the most improved guys. You saw it toward the end of the season last year because he got here late and he got comfortable with the offense, and he's worked really hard in the offseason to continue to improve, and you see that on a daily basis. Casey Martin was just a steady hand for us all year last year, and he brings to the table a guy that's really intelligent, a good route runner, and will catch the ball in traffic, which is exciting. DJ Thompson's really taken a step forward and really improved his route running and making plays down the field. And I think that'll be the big part for our wideouts, is when we get the opportunity to make a play, we got to make it. And at times last year we had the opportunities and didn't. Sometimes we did, but we need to make more than we did last year.
And we'll see some young guys in there, the Corey Robertson and some guys like that who really haven't played a lot of football.
Well, Corey is a big physical kid who's improving every day, and that you don't get guys like Corey with his size and ability and not try to find a way to use those guys. So you bring him in here, and you got guys like Jarrell Aaron, you got some young guys like Reed Riles, who has come a long ways, and then a newcomer, I think Jordan Mitchell has been really a surprise in fall camp. I'm excited to see where he's progressing very well, and I think it's going to provide us the depth we're going to need.
Well, Chip, thanks for giving us some time, getting us up to date on the Golden Eagle offense. Looking forward to an exciting season. Best of luck on Saturday against Mississippi State.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Chip Lindsey, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach for the Golden Eagles, giving us a little look behind the scenes of what to expect from the Golden Eagle offense this year. More to come today on Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken. Back in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody, to Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken, presented by Bank Corp South. Time now to talk about the Golden Eagle defense, and happy to have with us David Duggan, who's the defensive coordinator for the Golden Eagles. And Dave, the opening game just a few days away. I guess you get sort of an excitement that building up inside when that season opener rolls around. Ready or not, you got to play.
No doubt. I always tell a story, you know, when I was a player, or even when I was a first-time coordinator, you know, you get so excited that you can't feel your legs. I mean, you got the adrenaline flowing, and you know, we're anxious to, you know, see what this team is about. I really like our group this year, and excited to see the hard work pay off.
Last year, I know you said one of the things that kind of hurts you, not a lot of depth defensively, and when you get some injuries, kind of puts you in a bind. Should have a lot more depth, a lot more talent this year on the defensive side of the ball.
No doubt. That's been the best thing that's happened this offseason. We've added, you know, some defensive linemen to our core. We lost a really talented defensive lineman. Rakeem Nunez came out early in the draft, but, you know, we've brought in Andrew Bolton and Quincy Russell to, you know, help bolster, you know, the beef up front, inside, and you know, it's given us some flexibility to, you know, we moved Michael Smith. You know, he was originally going to be moving inside. We're probably going to have to move him back outside. You know, and our linebacker depth, we have a lot of experience coming back with Brian Anderson, Elijah Parker, CJ, and Tarek Wright. But, you know, Sherrod Ruff, you know, a junior college transfer, gives us, you know, even more depth. And Evan Osborne's been coming along. We moved him from safety to backer. So we feel confident with our, you know, our front depth. And, you know, we've had experience with our corners. We played a lot of young DBs in the last couple of years, and anchored by Kalen Reed, who have been playing a lot of football for us. And, you know, a concern originally coming out of the offseason was our safety position. And, you know, we feel that we've brought in 3 junior college guys now. Denarius Antoine should really be a dynamic player for us. Devontae Foster, you know, those 2 are right now, you know, going into the season should be our starters as of this moment. And we've got DeShadrick Truly and Picasso Nelson will move from corner to safety. So we feel much better about the depth of our defense, and it's added competition in practice. And, you know, we've had some pretty spirited practices this fall camp.
Talk again a little bit about the defensive front. You got some pretty good guys coming back from a year ago. Now with the new guys, that should be one of the strengths, I would think, of the football team, the defensive front.
Well, right now, you know, I feel pretty confident we can hang in there with just about everybody. You know, Dylan Bradley is a very disruptive, dynamic player. He played some inside, he's been playing some outside, and he's, you know, with now Michael Smith moving him back to the outside. Those are 2 fairly stout edge guys. And then, you know, we can bring in Jabari Poole, who's an edge rusher, and we've got some other, you know, edge rushers that we can throw in the game in, you know, passing situations. But our inside guys, Will Freeman's added a lot of weight. You know, Andrew Bolton, we've got a transfer in from Kansas, and you know, we've got Quincy Russell, we've got Draper Riley and Rod Creighton. These guys were all young, growing through the system, and so, you know, we've got some guys that are big enough, can hold the point, and we've got some depth. So when those big guys get worn down and get tired, hopefully we can rotate them in and out and keep them fresh.
And at linebacker, you've got a mixture of guys like Tarek Wright has played a lot of football. Brian Anderson was really good a year ago, coming in his first year. C.J. Perry's been around, and some of the other guys you mentioned. So that's another one of those strengths, as you mentioned, that linebacker, and that's important in the way you want to play defense.
Right. You can't, like we talked about it many times, you can't, in today's college football with the tempo and how fast teams are playing, you can't sustain 80 plays at that type of pace level. You have to have 2 guys at each position that you feel confident anytime they're going in the football game. And we feel that way with our linebacking core. Like I said, Brian Anderson's a year older. We came in without any spring practice, and, you know, now he's a full year into the system. He understands it better. You know, and Elijah Parker was the same way. So those 2 guys are playing with a lot more confidence this year. And the other 2 guys, CJ and Tarek, have been in here for years now. They've got a lot of practice reps. So we have a lot of confidence in that position right
And
now.
you throw in a guy like Anthony Swain, who played a lot of football at Auburn. He's one of those fifth-year guys that elected to come to Southern Miss. That's a pretty good addition. He's
obviously not going to. He's been on the big stage. He's not going to be overwhelmed by the environment that's in Mississippi State, and he's a bigger, thicker linebacker that gives us some thickness to us. Guys are going to play downhill with some thump to them, and so where he fits in this equation right now is he can play Mike or Will for us, and we'll see how it all unfolds throughout fall camp. We haven't made any final decisions on our depth chart, but we're very optimistic about what he'll bring to this team.
First game of the year is just a few days away against a really good Mississippi State ball club and quarterback Dak Prescott, so a pretty good challenge early on for the defense.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, because anytime you have a guy that's going to run the football as well as throw it, and he's one of the best players in the country, I don't know if you totally stop him, but you've got to limit his yards and make him pay with multiple hits on the quarterback when he wants to run, and and we've just got to make sure that everybody understands that you add depth to your defense by pursuit, and we got to be playing with our hair on fire, no doubt, when it comes to Mississippi State.
Dave, thanks for giving us an inside look at the Golden Eagle defense. Best of luck this year, and we'll see you on Saturday at the Rock for Mississippi State.
Okay, John. Thanks.
All right, David Duggan, he's the defensive coordinator for the Golden Eagles. They got a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys coming in. It'll be a lot of fun to watch the Golden Eagle defense in 2015. More to go on the show today. Back with more on Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken right after this.
While you're out partying and taking selfies with your friends this weekend, remember, hashtag get a designated driver. Drive sober or get pulled over. A message from the Mississippi Office of Highway Safety.
And we're back, Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Todd Monken, presented by Bancorp South. Well, we visited with Chip Lindsey and David Duggan, talked about the offensive and defensive football teams here at Southern Miss. And so let's talk about the special teams, Todd. And that's an area where I know you put a lot of emphasis. You weren't real happy with the results and some of the things that happened last year with special teams. You spent a lot of time trying to store that up and try to get this football team better in that area.
Well, we just lost a lot of momentum. We weren't very good at covering kicks. We weren't very good at punting it, and that really hurt us. We had a number of games where early on in the game or when the game's in the balance, we just didn't make enough plays to energize our team or capitalize on momentum. So we've spent the off season really primarily on kickoff coverage, and also the ability to punt it and how do we cover it better. The hidden yardage that we just killed ourselves. We didn't give ourselves a chance to take advantage of our talent. Now we're deeper on defense. The better you are on defense, the deeper you are, the better you're going to be on special teams, because it's really all the same guys.
But I know I've heard you say time and time again, those plays in the special teams, whether it's a block kick or a return, things like that, are really game-changing plays that have a lot to do with the result of the game.
Sure it does. Not only does it change the game from now you've got the ball or you've scored, but it energizes your team. Those type of plays are invaluable. And I think there was a stat when I was in the NFL, I think if you had a miscellaneous score, you won like 90% of the time. Whether it was an interception return, a punt return, a blocked kick, a kickoff return, you were going to win 90% of the time. You got an extra score, you stole a possession.
This is a football team where you got competition there in the special teams as well. Guys, your punters, your place kickers, even your return guys. So you've got some choices to make before the season opener.
We do. We got depth there as well, trying to figure out, hey, who's going to kick off for us, who's going to handle the field goal and PAT unit. And then also between Sarazen and Mosley and Gottberg, those guys, we've got a number of guys to choose from, and they've all been doing well.
All right, let's talk about Conference USA. Conference USA season will be here before we know it. And it looks like of the teams in the league, there's a couple of teams maybe who might be a bit ahead of everybody else, but it looks pretty evenly matched as you look at the way things sort of shake out in the conference. Well,
it sure does. I mean, at one point you would have said last year, man, Marshall is significantly better than everybody else in our league. And I don't know if I believe that anymore. You know, when you look at the back half of the year, and there's really a lot of parity. Who plays well every week? Who stays healthy? You know, we talk about an Old Dominion team who beat Rice and Louisiana Tech. They went 6-6 first year league. Those were two teams that were bowl eligible teams. Then you look at Western Kentucky, who beat Marshall. They got blown out by La Tech. I mean, blown out. And then in the championship game, La Tech had every opportunity to win the game. So do I think Marshall, Western Kentucky, Middle, La Tech probably, not any by division, are probably the teams to beat? Yes, but it's been proven that play good football, don't give up big plays, don't turn it over, you got a chance to win.
All right, the opener against Mississippi State here in just a couple of days. Your thoughts on the Bulldogs, a team that, boy, had a great season a year ago. They got one of the premier quarterbacks in the country in Dak Prescott, but a lot of weapons offensively and defensively for the Bulldogs.
Well, Dan Mullen's done a great job there, and it you know, after the number of years he was there, it showed up last year of what they put in. They had a really good team and surrounded it with really good quarterback play, which is what you need. They had a lot of depth, played good defense, and had a really good quarterback. So the key, obviously, from them offensively is their quarterback. You know, he's a run-pass threat. He's a big, powerful young man, and he's a handful. And if you allow them to stay in the down and distances where they can put you in run-pass conflicts, you're going to be in trouble. And then defensively, they've changed coordinators, but this will be the fourth time in 5 years that where I've been, we've gone against a Manny Diaz defense, trying to cause disruption, lost yardage plays, and not give up big plays. That's really what they're about, and I think he does a great job. It'll be a real challenge for us.
All right, well, good luck. Let's get off to a good start on Saturday. I know it's going to be a great year for the Golden Eagles, so best of luck, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, John.
All right, Todd Monken and the Golden Eagles open it up on Saturday, September 5th, just a couple of days away against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Don't forget, we've moved the Golden Eagle hotline to Monday night, so Monday night we're at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Hattiesburg with the Golden Eagle hotline. Come on out, join us, talk a little Golden Eagle football. That'll do it. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time. Another inside look into Golden Eagle football.
This edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with Todd Monken has been presented by Bancorp South, right where you are, and brought to you in part by the City of Hattiesburg, a proud sponsor of Southern Miss Athletics. UPS, from figuring it out to getting it done, UPS is here to help. The Mississippi Office of Highway Safety, drive sober or get pulled over. This has been a presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports.